Hi everybody, my name's Steve and welcome to my video producer and content creation course. In this course, I'm going to be showing you how to shoot better quality video with better audio, with better lighting, and I'm going to show you the fastest and most efficient way of creating these videos so that you can be putting out daily content, weekly content, for whatever it is you're looking to promote, whether it's a business, maybe you're a musician, a comedian, whatever it is. This is definitely going to help you, and the most important part of it all is I'm going to drastically increase the efficiency in which you edit, meaning you're going to be able to put out way more content faster. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this. Get your notepads out, make as many notes as you can, or watch these videos back over and over and over as many times as you want. But please just practice, practice, practice. And if you do, as I say in these videos, you are definitely going to be able to follow along. Right guys, let's get this section out of the way right at the very beginning, because I know it's one of the first things I always get asked, and it's always, Steve, what kind of gear should I be using when shooting my videos? Now, you can totally do everything in this course on your phone, everything from filming it to editing it, and I'll show you some examples throughout the course of me using the phone and some techniques to get the best out of the phone as well. I've got an iPhone 16 Pro, but if you've got anything from like an iPhone 11 upwards, or some of the Samsung series or the Google Pixel phones, they are all good enough to do all on the phone that you have. So don't worry about gear too much. However, if you are a bit of a tech nerd like me and you do like gadgets, then I'm going to show you what I'm using right now. So whilst I have big production cameras, I found recently that I've been using this particular camera all of the time. Now you'll notice I'm not touching the camera, I'm not holding it yet. Every time I move, the camera is following me around. I've also got very good audio quality, and that's because this camera comes with a lapel microphone. I'm going to show you this camera. I think if you're going to take social media serious, that this camera is definitely worth the investment. If you buy the creator kit, it's about £620. That's what I paid for mine anyway. And what you get is a case, and in the case comes this, this is a protector, this comes off. Then you've got your camera, so that's what the camera looks like, okay? It's really easy to operate. You literally just swing it to the side, it turns on, and you'll notice that the camera now is in operation. So if I just hit the confirm button, you'll see now that it's filming me. Now, if I was to hold it back round the other way and I wanted to put it into selfie mode, as you can see the camera is now pointing at you, I triple tap the little button on the front, it rotates, and I can use it in selfie mode, and it's perfect for that. There's also the face tracking mode, which I've just showed you, which does all of this. You also get in the pack one of these DJI microphones, which are literally amazing. They sound absolutely incredible, and that just attaches to your top. The great thing about these as well, and the reason I've been using them so much, is because when you flip the lid back there and hit confirm, you can now shoot in portrait mode too, which means that all your reels and social media stuff that you want to do, you can now just shoot straight out the camera and it's going to be perfectly cropped. You haven't got to worry about doing that later, and that is going to be a big time saver and something we'll talk about a bit later on. You also get a spare battery with it, you also get a little tripod with it, and you also get a muffler for the wind on the microphone when you're outdoors. So it's a great kit, it's a brilliant tool, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking to do lots and lots of daily content, especially if you're using it for a business. It's brilliant. You stick an SD card in there and you can get an app on your mobile phone which will allow you to download the footage straight to your phone. For those of you who are really techie, you can actually shoot in what's called log. I'll explain what that is later in the course. But for now, I don't want any of you to worry about any of that technical mumbo jumbo, just the actual making of the videos. That is all I want you to concentrate on. So your mobile phone is more than good enough. In fact, the footage from this often looks better than this camera, but this camera is just more convenient to me in the way that it operates, and I'm able to do various different things with it. So there's advantages to these, there's advantages to these. The biggest advantage to this one is you've got it on you all the time, so don't be afraid to use it, okay? So that's it for gear. That's all I want to talk about. All you need in a video is good quality visuals and good quality audio. Audio is as important as the actual video itself. If you've got terrible audio and someone's listening to it with headphones on, they are not going to want to listen to it. It's going to be an awful experience for them. So please take audio as seriously as the video itself. Now you can buy these lapel microphones that Bluetooth up directly to your phone as well. So if you wanted the advantage of using the microphone but you didn't want to buy the camera, then you could just buy the microphone and then attach it to your phone. So that's another option for you. So that's it for gear. That is literally all the gear I'm going to tell you to go and buy. There is only one other thing you might want if you really need it, and that would be a small light. I'm going to put links in this course so that you can go and see what you may or may not want. As you can see at the moment, I'm using direct sunlight that's coming in through my window, and that is enough for 99% of the things that I ever shoot. So thanks for watching this section. Now let's move on to the actual filming section. Right guys, now we're going to dive into some real basics when it comes to just knowing how a camera works and operates. So as I mentioned before, first of all, lighting is a big deal in videos. As you can see, I've got a light just to the left of me. It's only a lamp, but if I was to turn this off, it does make a bit of a difference in regards to the background. Okay, it looks nice and bright and it gives it a bit more of a sharper feel. But there are a few things that you can do within your camera that can also help with things like that. So for instance, one of the first things is your ISO settings. Now most cameras will have auto ISO on, and they will generally do a brilliant job nowadays of just being able to deal with things. But your ISO, effectively, what that is, it's increasing and decreasing the sensitivity to light. So if you outdoors, you might want an ISO of 100 because it's already very bright, so you don't need to have so much coming in. Now, if you're in a really dark setting, you might want to put that up to as high as 3,200 or 6,400. The problem with that is though, is the higher that ISO number goes, with a smaller sensor camera especially, then your footage is going to start to break up and look a bit bad. So that's why lighting is so important. If you can get good lighting and you've got the auto settings on, generally you should be okay. And the other one we're going to talk about is f-stop. So on an iPhone, if you're in portrait mode or cinematic mode, you'll see the option at the top of a letter F. If you click on that, you can change the f-stop. What that is basically doing in layman's terms is creating some background blur. So at the moment, everything in this shot is fairly sharp. You can see this photo behind me is a little bit blurred, but if I move closer, everything behind me should become more blurred because I've affected the f-stop by moving closer. This camera does this automatically, and I think so does your iPhone as well. But that is what that is effectively doing, and you can control that yourself manually. Then you've got frames per second. So typically I shoot in 24 frames per second when I'm shooting videos like this one. However, if you are shooting some slow motion stuff or you want to slow any footage down, then you're going to want to shoot in a higher frame rate. So let me just show you what I mean by that. You're going to see this again crop up in the course. But when you open up your camera and you go to video, in the top right hand corner, you can see it says 4K 30. I'm just going to turn my face off there so you can see that. So 4K 30. Now if I tap in this top corner a couple of times, it'll now say 4K 60. Hopefully you can see that. But the idea with that is when you come to edit your footage, you'll be able to slow that down by just more than 50%, which will give you nice, smooth, slow motion footage. Now, the higher that number goes, the slower you can make the footage. So if you're shooting at 120 frames a second, you're going to be able to slow it down even more, so you're going to get really super slow motion footage. So it's just a good thing to understand and a good thing to know, so that when you come to your editing, you know what you can slow down and what you can't. Because if you try to slow down 24 frames per second footage, it's going to get really jittery and very stop-start, and it's not going to look very attractive to the eye at all. And that's all I'm going to tell you now, because this is a beginner's course and I don't want to overcomplicate things. We don't need to go into things like shutter speeds and things like that. Again, most of you are going to be using the automatic settings within your cameras. So, and that's what I would encourage you to do to begin with until you sort of really get into it. Most of the cameras, like the one I'm using now, do a great job. The iPhone is fantastic for it. So there's plenty you can be doing without having to get far too technical, but this I thought would just help. Right, one of the things I want to talk to you about is camera movement. Okay, so we don't want to just stick a camera, point it at something, film it, and then try and edit that afterwards, because I'm telling you now, it's going to look really boring and not that interesting at all. So what we're going to do is I'm going to find something very quickly in the house, and I'm going to shoot a little tiny video using my phone, and I'm going to show you the kind of camera movements that I would use in order to try and make this a little bit more entertaining, and then we're going to edit that into a reel. Camera movement for me is like super important in terms of making what could be a really mundane, boring piece of content look kind of interesting. So I am going to do that now. I'm going to set it up and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do this all completely live, so you know I'm not messing around or doing any jiggery pokery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera over here. Okay, I'm just on my dining room table at home. So again, no fancy studio or anything of that nature. I'm going to move the camera this way just so you don't have the light in the background. Another big tip: never have your lighting source right behind you, your main lighting source, because if you do, that's going to create a lot of shadows over your face and you don't want that. So we are going to get out this camera and I'm going to shoot a little bit of video for it. Okay, so we're just going to put on the attachments now. We're going to just screw on his little feet, and we're going to pop that down onto the table over here. Now I'm going to turn my face tracking off for a moment, and I'm just going to move this around so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to move anything out of the background that I don't want in the shot, like these. And there's a magazine over here, so we'll get rid of that too. And there is a giant cup of my daughter's, so we'll move that out of the way also. Okay, so we've got a nice clean space. That's the first thing we want to do, is just make sure we don't have anything in the background that we don't want in the background. Then we're going to choose an angle to shoot at for our first shot. So we're going to open up the camera. When you open up your camera and you get to video, for instance, up in the top right hand corner, you're going to notice it says 4K 24. Now I want to change that to, if I tap it twice, you'll see it says 4K 60. Now what that means is that's 60 frames per second. So that's going to allow us to shoot things in slow motion. So when we edit afterwards, that's going to make things a little bit more interesting. So first shot, we're going to start out from here. And what I like to do from shooting on a table is I will just put my finger on the table a little bit, just so I can use it as a guide as I track this. Now, stabilization is built into this camera, so it looks pretty good anyway. But what we're going to do is we're just going to hit video, and we're going to move straight in and then stop. And then we're going to take another angle and we're going to click video, and we're going to swoop around and stop. And then maybe we'll do another one from above and then pull away. So they're just 3 simple movements that you can do in order to just make it look a little bit more interesting. Now that's 3 really what are quite simple movements from top to bottom, front to back, and a little swooping shot. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna edit these. So we're gonna go into the editor now, and I'm gonna show you how we would edit that in order to make it look a little bit more interesting. Let's dive right in. Right, so I'm just now in the phone. You should see this pop up on the screen in just 1 second. What we're gonna do is we are gonna open up an app called CapCut. Now there's a desktop version for this, which is brilliant, and we will use that in this course. You may have already seen it, but CapCut looks like this. So you open it up, and then you've got a screen that says new project, auto cut, retouch, enhance quality, etc. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you the manual way of doing this, and then I'm going to show you the cheating way of doing it. So we're going to click on new project at the top. Then we're going to select the 3 shots of the camera that we selected, and we're just going to click add. Then once we've done that, we are going to select some music. I always like to select the music right at the beginning because it gives me a vibe that I want to go for. So let's say I'm just going to pick the first one. We're going to go with that one, okay? So first thing we want to do is we don't want me talking on these videos. So we're going to tap on the footage itself. We're going to come across the bottom over here. We're going to hit volume, and we're just going to turn that down. And then we're going to do the same with the next one. And then we're going to do the same with the next one. So all them 3 clips now, they're all turned down, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to just have a look at the footage and listen to the beats, and then we're going to try and stop it on the beat so that it goes in time with the music. So let's watch it back. But remember, we shot this in 60 frames a second. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and I'm going to press the speed button at the bottom. Then I'm going to press curve, because this is going to give us some fun options. And in this case, what I'm going to go for is I'm going to go for the hero shot. That looks cool, okay? So we press OK, and that's now shortened that clip, because obviously it's sped some parts up and slowed some bits down, but it has overall shortened the clip. But let's just watch that back. That already looks so cool, right? Now, simple hand movement, and it's moved. Let's just make sure it stops on the beat. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so your next clip now, we want to have a look at how that works. So we want to do it from where it actually starts moving. So this time we're going to hit the clip. We found where the camera movement starts. We're going to hit split. Then we're going to tap on the piece of footage before, and we're going to press delete. Okay, that looks a little odd at the moment, but it will look good. I will show you how we do that in a second. This time now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the clip. We're going to hit speed again. We're going to hit curve. And this time, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with a flash out. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to click on the edit options on flash out, and we're just going to bring the overall speed down to about 0.5 or something like that. And then flash out at the end. Okay, so we've got another one there, little clip. So we'll go 1, 2. And then you've got your last clip, which is zooming in. And what we might do with that one is we might just click montage. And then we're going to delete this thing at the end. Now, if you've got the pro version of CapCut, you can get rid of all the watermarking. So we're just going to hit that. We're going to hit delete. Now we want to cut the length of the music in time with the actual video itself. So we're going to click on the actual piece of audio. We're going to hit split, then we're going to hit delete. But we don't want the music to just cut off because it doesn't sound nice. So we're going to tap on the music again and we're going to hit fade, and then usually about 1.5 seconds is where I like to go. Okay, so that's that. Then what we can do is we can go back to the beginning of everything now, and we're going to want to add some transitions. So we go to Pro. If you've got the Pro one, we hit this. And I'm just going to use whichever ones for now, and I'm going to do that. And then for the next one, I might use the same again just to keep it in the same kind of general theme. But we've got our 2 transitions that we've hit on there. So we've got transition 1. We've used the same transition on the next one as well. You could use any that you want, but I just want to keep it nice and clean. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to add a filter of some description just to try and make this look a little bit more appealing on the eye. Just turn that up a little bit. Yeah, we're going to hit OK. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to drag that out to the end of the video. So you've got a nice cool looking filter on there. And then you're going to go back to the beginning. Now, if you wanted to, we could add some text to this video. Again, just to spruce it up just a touch. And we can go to text at the bottom. And then we can come across here and we can go to text template, which is usually a good one. And then we could just put something like... let's find something that looks cool and dramatic. We'll just go with this one. Then we click on Never and we type in DJI. And then we go to the next one where it says stop. And we put pocket. DJI Osmo, and then the third one, Pocket, if I could spell correctly, Pocket 3. We hit OK. Let's drag that back to the first frame. And that's it. We then hit export if that's what we want. And you've just took 3 really mundane looking clips of footage that on their own didn't look that great and turned it into a video that actually looks pretty cool. So guys, if you found that video useful, go away now and practice, because I'm telling you, if you do that, you're going to enjoy this whole process. And it's going to make your life a lot easier in the long run if you keep practicing at it. So thanks for watching this section, and we'll be back with another bit very soon.